Our guest today is founder and program director of Communidad 365, the largest independent Spanish-speaking Dynamics 365 group in the world, where he's also an active speaker, trainer, and writer. He's one of the friendliest MVPs I've met in the community. It's my pleasure to introduce Pablo Peralta, all the way from Uruguay. For full show notes, visit nz365guide.com/96. Now let's get on with the show. Pablo, welcome to the MVP show. How are you?
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for having me. I'm great. Awesome.
Excellent. So tell me, what part of the world do you reside in?
Well, now I'm in Uruguay, which is in the middle of between Argentina and Brazil, small country, and we are looking at plans to relocate by next year, actually. So that's a good question at this point.
Okay, so Uruguay. So what's Uruguay famous for?
For its food, its barbecues, its beaches, carnival. So yeah.
Okay. So what's the main language spoken there?
Spanish. Actually, it's Spanish. Yeah.
Okay, so Spanish.
But we are pretty close to Brazil. So in some parts of Uruguay, you can also see people speaking like half Spanish and half Portuguese.
Wow. Okay, so I went to Portugal a few years ago, and one thing I noticed that Portuguese don't like you accidentally speaking Spanish to them. They would like prefer you to just speak in English or don't try and speak in Spanish to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're quite particular about it. What I couldn't get over, is that, because prior to going to Portugal, I'd spent almost 2 months in Spain, and I found Spanish people often don't know necessarily a lot of English because, Spanish is I think it's used more around the world than even English, right? I think there's a greater population using it. But what I found is that in Portugal, heaps of people knew English.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I didn't struggle at all not knowing Portuguese. And a taxi driver said to me that the reason it is that in Spain, if they want to watch American movies or anything, they get overdubbed from a voice perspective.
Well, I'm still think that English is actually the language of the world. It opened me so many doors. And I could even imagine living and working in this profession without being able to communicate in English. I don't feel myself I'm great in English. It's still my second language, of course. But I think that everybody should learn it, and actually, my children are also learning it. So
yeah, it's definitely a no-brainer. But what was interesting is that they're saying in Spain is that because they're overdubbed in Spanish, people don't need to learn English. But in Portugal, because it's a smaller country, they just have everything with English subtitles. So therefore, if you want to enjoy the movie to the full extent, you got to learn English. So he said kids from a young age learn English off the movies. Interesting, eh?
Yeah, it is, and it makes sense. In smaller markets, you have to find more opportunities outside. Uruguay, for instance, is a small country, so most of the services part there are tons of contact centers and tons of kind of outsourcing services from here. Actually, technology is it's one of the greatest industries here. Software in special. So yeah, and all of that is or most of it is English related.
So you mentioned food. Is barbecue kind of the big thing that you do on the weekends?
I used to. Yeah. I still enjoy it, but mostly maybe my father-in-law, prepares that, and I most now on the side of just enjoying the table and enjoying the time, with spending time with playing with my kids and that kind of stuff while my father-in-law is cooking.
Yeah. It makes sense. So just I just had something interesting. Uruguay, like I'm from New Zealand, but I'm a Kiwi. or a New Zealander, what is somebody from Uruguay known as?
Well, for football, yeah, for soccer.
No,
I
no, no,
mean,
no, 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 no. What I'm meaning here is that as a Kiwi, sorry, as a New Zealander, people would say I'm a Kiwi, but as in somebody from Uruguay, are you a Uruguayan? What are you known as, person wise?
I actually am not sure what's the question about because kiwi here, it's a fruit.
I know it's a fruit, but like, yeah, yeah. But in New Zealand, a kiwi is a flightless bird, and if you're a New Zealander, you're just known as you're a kiwi. So, for example, that Polish MVP, Kuba, he doesn't call me Mark. He just goes, "Hey, Kiwi." He just refers to me as Kiwi the whole time. You know. So I just
It's
wondered,
so
is,
fun.
is is somebody from Uruguay, and if you're a person from Uruguay, are you known as a Uruguayan, or is it something else? Like, let's say if you're from Spain, you're Spanish, or if you're from Portugal, you're Portuguese.
I don't think we have something specific like that. Yeah, just Uruguayan. Yeah, but coming back to that, the most famous Uruguay is for football players. I mean, by football, soccer. Like Luis Suarez, Cavani. If you used to follow the European leagues, there are several Uruguayan players that are performing excellent.
Yeah, yeah. So everybody has their own sports team there. I take it that they back, and then the national team. Yeah. So tell me about family. What have you got family wise? And if you're thinking of moving, is everybody moving with you to wherever you're gonna go?
Yes, yes, that's the idea. That's the project we have for next year, and we are pretty excited for that. And I'm speaking about my wife. We are married since 10 years this month, and three kids. It's 17, 9, and 3.
Wow,
Yes.
wow, that's a big spread.
So I don't get bored. Yeah, I have to wake up very early in the morning to do my stuff. Yeah.
So how long have you been an MVP, and how did you become an MVP?
This is my 10th year as an MVP. I was first prized in 2010. And to answer your question, I don't really know at that time because I didn't even know what an MVP was, and what was the program about. It's a completely different story today, where you have access to much more information, and the program itself has growth a lot, and there is a lot of more information available, and it has been socialized a lot. But at that point, at least for me, I didn't know anything about it, and I have been always involved in community stuff. I love the community part, and I was the guy that you met in every community event, and learning all the stuff, trying everything, every new technology, Microsoft related mostly, and I have been involved always in community stuff, and then I started to make some blogging, make some stuff, but really just to share information. And I did some in English, and then I realized, there were tons of people, Spanish speaking, that needed the same help, and why we didn't have a community in Spanish, and why we didn't try to get together all of those who were passionate about the same stuff in that time. And I was starting with Dynamics CRM at that time, and there were very very few, if known information in Spanish about it. So we were very very few were talking about it at that time. And then someone from Microsoft arrived to me, just asked some data. I trusted him because I I seek in LinkedIn, and it was from Microsoft, so I gave that information, and then I received that prize. So I then started to realize what was it about, and it has been an amazing journey. So being an MVP gave me so much to my life, so much to my professional growth, so many friends like at this point. So, I'm very grateful for that.
It's so good. So tell me about this massive Spanish community. What's it called that you've set up that is all focused around, Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform? But what do you call it, and where can people find it if they're interested in getting involved?
Well, now it's part of D365 UG, so that's also amazing because we are now part of the official user group for Dynamics. So you will find it under d365ug.com/es from Spanish, and that's our new home. And you will find there, the forum, upcoming webinars, academy trainings, next conferences, chapter meetings, hang out with your tribe locally with your chapter. So every goodness we have from the user group, now we have it for Spanish.
Excellent. So how long ago did you become part of user group communities?
Since this year, actually. So yeah, it has been a very busy first quarter, migrating all the stuff, from the previous site to this new site. We are still, migrating some more legacy stuff, let's say it like that. But since this year, you can officially, that's the way to get connected with your community if you speak Spanish.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And so just to give us an idea, what you had over 6,000 members in that Spanish community, is that right?
I think maybe more right now. If you put it together today, it's more not only Dynamics, it's also Power Platform. So yeah, maybe it's much bigger than that.
It is incredible, incredible. And so some of the other data that I see there, you've got over 2,000 odd blog posts and over 1,000 videos in Spanish. Wow.
That's true. So yeah, of course we are not migrating, more than 1,000 videos, because that would be crazy, and there are already stuff that doesn't make sense because the technology has evolved so much that migrating something from maybe 2014 or 2015 doesn't make sense. But if you put it together, it's tons of content, and almost all of it in Spanish. Yeah, just maybe some exception.
So tell me, what area do you kind of specialize in as an MVP? Are you on the developer side? Are you on the architecture side? Functional consultant? Do you run your own business? What's your secret skills?
It has been a mix. I don't consider anymore the technical guy, but most of the architecture, on the architectural side. Last year, I spent the entire year working on the customer side, as the architect for Scotiabank. So it was a big implementation project, and I played the role, inside the customer. So that was fantastic, and that was my last consulting role, because fortunately, from this year, I'm dedicating full time to community, to provide to community, amazing content and amazing opportunities to get together, like the events, like the conferences we are organizing, in Mexico, in Spain, in Brazil. So yeah.
Wow, very good, very good. And that bank that you said you worked for, was that a bank located in Uruguay or outside Uruguay?
Yeah, yeah. It was a local bank, and that was a role I was pretty much eager to do because I played the role of a partner in many years. So I really wanted to experience the role from the customer side, and I learned so much. That was really fantastic, and actually, being the counterpart of the partner, and we speak pretty much the same language, because I knew what really matters for the partner, and try to help to balance each stuff, balance the customer requirements, balance the vision and scalability for the platform that I really want to provide to them, and at the same time trying to balance, how much effort, time, and customizations it would cost to the partners. So to put it all together and make the right balance.
What do you think is the biggest value of being an MVP? In other words, how has it impacted you specifically over the last 10 years?
Well, it's a deep question because I believe in being an MVP as a way of living. Actually, it's not about the price. It's not about if you are finally recognized or not by Microsoft or whichever your vendor is. Um, of course, that's fantastic, but I see that as a consequence of a series of habits that you incorporate for yourself, as a series of strong beliefs that you incorporate for yourself, and as a series of having the right attitude about sharing with your community, about openly trying to help people in solving their problems, and actually as a way of growing every day of your life, of your career, trying to be a better you every day, learn every day. And I'm speaking here not only the technical stuff, but also in your personal growth, and saying, okay, I want to be better. I want to grow. I want to create positive impact for those who are around me. It doesn't matter if it's 10 people, 100, or 1,000 people. I just want to be an inspiration for them, and I want to create positive impact, and I want to help everybody that I can help. So I believe that that's the way I took, and I wish that everybody that is listening to this podcast and is thinking about becoming an MVP, okay, are think about that as a way of living, as being passionate. Also, it's a journey that it's fueled by passion, by a lot of passion. I felt so much passion for that platform, for the Dynamics, so much passion for being better every day in what I do, and what I am as a person and as a professional. That I think I wish that to everybody who is thinking about that as a career path.
Yeah. So that's interesting. You say you like passion for the product. When did you kind of realize that, back in the day you started would have been Dynamics CRM was kind of where you wanted to take your
Well,
career that way?
I have been involved in Microsoft technologies up to now. I think we are talking about 20 years. Uh, but I really came to a point in my career that I wanted to specialize in something, and and highlighting something. I mean, I did a lot of things, okay, I wanted to get deeper in one specific technology. And at that time, and I was pretty much involved with the, had been actually most of my time involved in business solutions, and I I I love developing, but at the same time, I didn't want to recreate the wheel. I mean, I always try to find ways to be more productive and be able to uh, generate outcomes faster for my customer in front of me. And when I came across the Dynamics platform, I saw that anybody wasn't aware of it, mostly at that time, and wasn't paying attention. And I saw so much potential on that. Not so much from the product itself or as the CRM suite itself, but the platform itself. And say how to you could easily build business solutions, build forms, workflows, and have it all there pretty quick, and at the same time being able to integrate and customize almost every aspect of what you needed. So it was tremendous potential and a tremendous gain for any customer that wanted to have it a business solution. So that what was attracted me at that time, and well, of course, I don't regret about that decision.
If you look at all the projects that you've been involved in across your Dynamics career, how many of them were either Salesforce automation or customer service, or was it more XRM work that you're doing?
Well, I think if my ranking is customer service, platform, and then sales. Yeah, but that was my personal experience.
Yeah, so you're saying you did a lot of customer service, so using the case entity, that type of thing. And then you would have done a lot of XRM work, and then sales would have been third. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so give us an example of some of the case systems that you were building.
Well, my most recent, mostly banks. I have been mostly involved in banks and financial institutions. And for the customer service side, it was amazing because it was using the platform, but at the same time being a kind of configurator where you can easily, where the actual customer can maintain the platform without need you to create, new workflows and that kind of stuff. So they have all the templates, and they just go to a custom entity, technically speaking. But it's a section that they call the configurator, where they can say, okay, I have this case that this is this typification, this category. It has this kind of SLAs. It has to go. This is the first area. Then this is the second area. This is the third area. And that kind of stuff. And just they push a button and that's it. They have the new circuit, the new workflow, the new all already in place. So coming to that kind of solution, for me it was I did that in the past for other couple of customers, and I think that my last time doing that was last year, architecting that, because in the end it was developed by a partner. I'm very proud of it, and satisfied with that, and the customer is so happy, and so happy with that kind of solution. That it's great.
Well, listen, our time has already shot through. We've only got a few minutes to wrap up, so I always like to do a couple of quick fire questions at the end here. So, these just really need one word answers, but what business application MVP, past or present, do you respect the most?
Mark Smith.
No, you can't say. I'm not fishing here. I'm not fishing. Don't give me that rubbish. Give me a real one. Give me a real one.
Ramon. I think Ramon is right.
Ramon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good lad, isn't he?
Yeah,
I
it's
like him as
amazing.
well. I like him as well.
Amazing. Always willing to help, always, doing it even in English, in Spanish, and whatever.
Tell me if of all the countries you've visited in your lifetime, which country do you like the most outside?
Bahamas.
Bahamas?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about Bahamas. I've never been.
Well, I've been several times there because of my job again, and it's fantastic. It's a very nice place, nice beaches. Of course, it's Caribbean, so that's the reason. Yeah.
What business personality do you look up to anywhere in the world? But what business person do you, if you like, aspire to or think's done really well in their career?
Well, actually, I follow several of them. It's hard to it's hard to only say one, you know. Yeah, so John Maxwell is one that I used to read. Yeah, Ray Dalio, Tony Robbins as well, but not so much fun. But there is another one that is in Spain that is Sergio Fernandez is his name, and it's he's doing fantastic as well.
Pablo, it's been awesome, chatting to you. Before you go, if people want to connect with you online, where can they find you?
Well, in LinkedIn, so it's in LinkedIn. You see Pablo Peralta, and if you want to become an MVP or stay as an MVP, I would point you to becomemvp.com.
Hey, thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode, and if you did, I invite you to subscribe to the podcast and smash the social media button to share the content with your friends. For full show notes, go to nz365guy.com/96. See you next week.